Hello, grade 7 students of Shri Venkateshwara Vidyalaya. Welcome back to day 13 e-learning session English. Today we are going to look into a new lesson number 4 from your honey book, The Ashes That Made Trees Bloom, written by William Elliott Griffiths. This is a Japanese tale. Let's get into the lesson to get to know more details about it. So children, this is lesson number 4 from your honey book. The lesson name is The Ashes That Made Trees Bloom. This is a Japanese tale and the author name is William Elliott Griffiths. Lesson plan format is knowledge based. You're going to use your knowledge. Pre-teaching and introduction is recalling the comic story. In the previous lesson you have read about comic story, how to prepare a comic story and what are the ways you can prepare the comic story. In this lesson you are going to recall the comic story and try to make a comic strip for the introduction of the story. You are going to make a comic strip. For the video you are going to see in your pre-teaching and introduction part. You are going to make speech bubbles, imagination bubbles and the situation. And you are going to make a comic strip for the introduction of the story. Okay children, please be ready with your pen and paper. Once upon a time there was a dog who was caged and was not given any independence to roam here and there. He was in a cage in a pet shop, and there came an old dame of Japan. This old dame does not have any children, so he thought of adopting the little dog. He happily took the pet dog into his arms and paid for him in the pet shop and moved towards his car. He was happy that he is going to inform his wife that he has adopted a dog and named the dog as Muko. The pet dog Muko was recalling his old days where he was caged and troubled, but now in the hands of the old dame and his wife, he was very happy because they were treating him as his own child. So this was the story of Muko. Pre-teaching and introduction of the lesson. Make speech bubbles, imagination bubbles and situation to make your comic story. The learning objective for this lesson is to make the students frame questions. The students should be able to frame questions. The learning outcome is the ability to frame all types of WH questions. Let us know what are the LSRW skills involved in this lesson. Listening to the narration, writing or framing WH questions, asking or speaking the same. Asking or speaking the questions. Reading the content, titles and subtitles. Content. Let's know the content. This video contains a story introduction and your task is you are going to prepare a comic strip based on this introduction video, story introduction video. Please be ready to prepare a comic strip for this intro video. And the second one is vocabularies. Try to pick out at least 4 vocabularies. Find its meaning and sentence usage. Lesson number 4, The Ashes That Made the Trees Bloom, written by William Elliott Griffiths. This is a Japanese tale. In the good old days of the daimyos, there lived an old couple whose only pet was a little dog. Having no children, they loved it as though it were a baby. The old dame made it a cushion of blue crepe, and at the mealtime Muko, for what that was his name, would sit on it snug as any cat. The kind people fed the pet with tidbits of fish from their own chopsticks, and all the boiled rice it wanted. Thus treated, the dumb creature loved its protectors like a being with a soul. The old man, being a rice farmer, went daily with hoe or spade into the fields, working hard from morning until Tento Sama, as the sun is called, had gone down behind the hills. Every day the dog followed him to work, never once harming the white heron that walked in the footsteps of the old man to pick up the worms. For the old fellow was patient and kind to everything that had life, and often turned up a sod on purpose to give food for the birds. One day the dog came running to him, putting his paws against his legs and motioning with his head to some spot again behind. The old man at first thought his pet was only playing and did not mind it. But the dog kept on whining and running to and fro for some minutes. Then the old man followed the dog a few yards to a place where the animal began a lively scratching. Thinking it was possibly a buried bone or a bit of fish, the old man struck his hoe in the earth, when, lo, a pile of gold gleamed before him. Thus in an hour the old couple were made rich. The good souls bought a piece of land, made a feast for their friends, and gave plentifully to their poor neighbors. As for the dog, they petted him till they nearly smothered him with kindness. Now in the same village there lived a wicked old man and his wife, not a bit sensitive and kind, who had always kicked and scolded all the dogs whenever any passed their house. Hearing of their neighbor's good luck, they coaxed the dog into their garden and set before him bits of fishes and other dainties, hoping he would find treasure for them. But the dog, being afraid of the cruel pair, would neither eat nor move. Then they dragged him out of doors, taking a spade and a hoe with them. No sooner had the dog got near a pine tree growing in the garden than he began to paw and scratch the ground as if a mighty treasure be beneath. "Quick, wife! Hand me a spade," cried the greedy old fool as he danced with joy. Then the covetous old fellow with a spade and the old crone with the hoe began to dig. But there was nothing but a dead kitten, the smell of which made them drop their tools and shut their noses. Furious at the dog, the old man kicked and beat him to death. And the old woman finished the work by nearly chopping off his head with a sharp hoe. They then flung him into the hole and heaped the earth over his carcass. The owner of the dog heard of the death of his pet, and mourning for him as if he had been his own child, went at night under the pine tree. He set up some bamboo tubes in the ground, such as are used before tombs, in which he put fresh flowers. Then he laid a cup of water and a tray of food on the grave, and burned several costly sticks of incense. He mourned a great while over his pet, calling him many dear names as if he were alive. That's a story. Introduction. Note down your assignments, children. Your assignment number 1 is you're going to prepare a comic strip for the intro video, a simple comic strip. And assignment number 2 is you're going to frame at least 10 WH questions. one single WH question should not repeat. For example, you have to prepare one what question, one why question, one when question, each one. You have to use all types of WH question and frame at least 10 WH questions relevant to the content given in the introduction video. And assignment number 3 is vocabularies, meanings and sentence usage. So children, let us know what are the concepts we have gone through. LSRW skills as usual. Number 2 is vocabularies. Number 3 is WH questions. And number 4 is comprehension check through WH questions. That's all for today, children. I'll meet you with another video, with a continuation video, module 2 of this lesson, which has a continuity. Kindly complete the assignments and send it on time. Just keep guessing what would be the continuity of the story. Thank you, children. Take care. Bye-bye.